Good evening and welcome back to tonight's Boise State Esports broadcast. I'm your host, Jacob Gem Mountain Palmer, and we're coming to you from the Game Pants Esports Arena in downtown Boise, Idaho. We are moving on to the main event of the night. It is going to be Boise State versus Air Force in a Mountain West Overwatch Series match. Boise State is currently 4-0 for the season, undefeated, looking to make it 5-0 and end the regular season off before they head into the playoffs. Joining me at the desk is Michael Fisher, and I also have Captain Star with me. It's nice to have you on the desk. And always nice to have players on the desk to give some play-by-play or analysis. And I just have to come clean with you guys and everyone in the Twitch chat. We have been wrong all season. We have been saying all the time that only the top team from the Mountain Division and the West Division are going on to the finals. Not so, because according to the new paperwork, which we've just been gotten, there actually are going to be semifinals. The top two teams from each division are going to be doing his semifinals and then finals, so there you go. In terms of what Boise State has, though, this is still an important match, because here's how it works out. We're 4-0. If we win this one, we're guaranteed to be first seed. If we don't, then we're looking at some tiebreaker stuff. And that, who knows what can happen from there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Boise State is the only undefeated team in the Mountain West right now. Air Force doesn't look like their playoff hopes are alive in Overwatch, but they might be alive in other games. But yeah, Boise State, a lot at stake. If you can be the only team to finish 5-0, you're definitely going to send a message to everybody else that you're the force to be reckoned with in the conference.
And just not the only team that's undefeated, because in the West Division there is Nevada, which is also 4-0. So definitely a great rival to Boise State. UNLV is also near the top of the West Division as well. Great rivals. It'll be interesting to see how the playoffs go. Right now you're watching Boise State versus Air Force in this Overwatch Mountain West Esports Series. It has been a great evening so far, and we are looking to capitalize on a win here to make us 5-0 for the series. And I do have to correct myself just there. It's actually UNLV is 3-1 at the top of the West Division, and Nevada is 2-1, tied with San Jose State. So I apologize for getting that wrong, but still, UNLV, a great rival of ours. We'll look forward to seeing them in the playoffs. In terms of who is right behind us, Colorado State is 3-1 as well. So if we were to lose this one and go 4-1, it's going to depend on what happens with Colorado State in their match, and we go into the whole process of determining how playoffs work. But it really is, we control our own destiny tonight. It's whoever wins, Boise State will be in the ultimate driver's seat if they go 5-0. And what's the general mood been around that, Captain Star?
Everyone on the team has been very excited to see what's going to happen. We fully expect to, or we really hope to win this. We believe we're a better team, and we've been practicing the new meta a lot, and we think we can take the 5-0.
Talking about the new meta, there was a little bit of conversation between you two before the broadcast talking about Blizzard's upcoming attempts to kind of change the meta or make it more dynamic, and you were saying it's going to be interesting. Can you elaborate?
Well, the new changes Blizzard is going to introduce is going to include hero banning, where they'll have a pool of heroes which will be banned out for every event. And that will force teams to be more adaptive. If your compositions you're used to running rely on Reinhardt primarily as the main tank, the really good brawl, and he gets banned out, what do? You have to figure out how to sub in Orisa or Sigma or some other main tank that can fill his role, and it's going to change the dynamics of how you run your team comps.
Because Fish, the main team compositions have been pretty solidified right now in the current meta.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that are going to be interesting. I mean, what is the number? Is it 2 tanks? Is it 3 tanks? Is it just 1 tank? I think the number of champions that are heroes that are going to be banned is going to be a huge one. And then the frequency. I mean, Blizzard said at the start, we'll do it every week. Then we might do it every day. We might even do it every match. So I really think this is going to be a very interesting season-long experiment in Overwatch. They also said they're going to be a lot more aggressive with their patching, potentially multiple patches a week for balance changes. So it's going to be very curious. There's a lot that's going to be figured out. I think the good news is, and one thing I'm very happy about, is this won't affect the actual season. This isn't going to happen until mid-March. The Mountain West Series should be done by then. So I'm glad that we're not going to see some weird changes right when the Mountain West Championships happen. So I'm glad that we're going to see this and we'll be able to adapt to it for next semester potentially. Blizzard does stick with it, because who knows what Blizzard's going to do.
Right now, though, that is in the future, and we have now to focus on the game tonight. And to help us do that, we've got Doc's keys to the game, which versus Air Force will be make sure you have the right comp, prioritize your targets. I have an interesting story about that. Stabilize and continue and track those ultimates. That is Doc's Keys to the Game, brought to you by Boise State University, where you can choose from more than 200 areas of study and have the chance to combine minors, certificates, internships, hands-on research, work opportunities, and more. To make your educational experience unique, visit boisestate.edu for more info and esports.boisestate.edu for schedules and tryout information as it relates to the esports program. I got to say, it is very interesting focusing targets, because I will say, just kind of as a story of behind-the-scenes stuff, that was one of the times when I probably heard Doc at his most serious was during an Overwatch scrim. And I was with the Hearthstone team, and we were prepping and getting our lineup ready. And I hear Doc from across the room. He goes, "This is embarrassing. Focus targets." So definitely good information. I think it really is. And definitely one thing that I want to talk about that hopefully Boise State can improve on from last week is one of the problems they had against Utah State was there was way too much playing into the other team's ultimates. There were diva bombs constantly picking up at least 2. Fish wasn't here, but it was amazing. There were dead eyes picking up at least 2.
Allegedly.
A dead eye in a play of the game. So definitely some of that positioning and not trying to play into those ultimates, which have giveaways, they can improve on that. Not D'Angelo, Captain Star. We've had D'Angelo on before, but it's you, Captain. Sorry.
Yeah, there's a very fine balance between taking a favorable engagement and waiting too long to take that engagement. And I think a lot of what happened last week was both teams were very, very aggressive in trying to take those engagements. And in the process of doing that, you open yourself up to being countered, or if they use their ultimates first, they could get the jump on you.
All right, the first map is going to be Ilios. And Captain Star, what can you tell us about this map and how the Broncos have been prepping on this map, if they have been?
This map is a very Widow-dominated map. It has been since the start of the game. There's lots of amazing sightlines that she can take. Because of that, dive is a little bit more preferable because you can jump on there. You're a bit more maneuverable. But you can also run a bunker or brawl comp to get onto the point quickly. But again, you have to play really carefully behind your shields. Otherwise, you open up the Widowmaker to get free picks on your backline.
Well, Boise State is definitely played on this map before in previous matches. We've seen some cheeky plays over the years on this match. Very fun, especially with all the environmental kills you can get. And we're going to see how that turns out right now. Fish, what are you most looking forward to? What would you like to see?
I mean, I would like to see, a bunch of Deadeye fails just so I can clown everybody about that. But no, I mean, I really want to see some great Widow play, just like Captain Star mentioned. I think snipers are one of the most fun heroes to play in this game. Like you can see, Saladon is on one, the only one in the game. So I'd love to see some nice wrist flicks there, some nice headshots, really to start this game out well for Boise State.
And right now we see the first engagement is kind of going up. We see Guac is on the Winston. He's going to go right up into Air Force's face. No eliminations right now. The Reinhardt is going to push onto the point and try to swing toward the Hammond there. We also see Sigma is being used by Air Force as well. Still no eliminations, just a lot of back and forth on the board. And now you see Guac and Food are going to pick up the first eliminations with the Reinhardt and the Sigma. Pyros is going to follow that up, and Guac on this. Winston certainly getting a lot of mileage, getting 3 eliminations in that first engagement and a team kill.
Yeah, so one of the things that Air Force was going for is they have the Junkrat and the May, which is going to, if you dive into that without being prepared, they can punish you heavily. They can wall you off from your team. The Junkrat has a ton of burst potential that can just melt your tanks or even your DPS or even your tanks when they engage. And we did a really good job of kiting away from that and waiting for the perfect opportunity.
Flank here by Air Force. Doesn't matter. Chris J is going to be the first one to ball. Saladon in the back line with a very clear sight line. Not able to pick anyone off yet, but the Falcons are going to be forced to retreat. A double kill going to be picked up by both sides, though. Air Force actually able to turn that one around. M. Jalti is going to be the next one to fall. Food, though, does go down with the ultimate. So after a quick pickoff of Chris J, the team's trading back and forth. Boise State more than content to fall off, though. They were really sort of bullying the Falcons in their own spawn. So that is a trade, Gem Mountain, that they will take.
And Saladon is going to use the infrared sights, give his team a bit more information, make Air Force a little bit more trepidatious on how they approach that. We can see they did switch from the Junkrat to the McCree as well. Right now, Food is going to use the Genji Blade and the Nano Boost, and that's going to help him pick up Ana right away. Pyros, for his credit, was able to get the Lucio as well, but 2 eliminations on Guac and Saladon show that Air Force still has something to say about that. Food is going to continue by getting rid of Garbear, and then Pyros is going to pick up Chris J as well. So good eliminations, a good engagement so far. Pyros also picking up Marshall. It's been a combination of Food and Pyros thus far, getting 1 elimination after the other.
Yeah, we've just been a little bit better in being aggressive with our ultimates. We got the Nano Blade off while they were still split. Weren't fully regrouped and ready to take a team fight, and we were able to split them and strategically take out key targets like the Ana with that Dragon Blade.
Pyro's going to hop in, immediately take down Garbear. Saladon must he with some help there. Food's going to pick up another one as well. So the on is down. The Shatter will land on 2 members of Boise State. Will get Food killed in the process, but Guac does not care. He is swinging those fists back and forth. A triple kill with the Primal Rage into overtime, and that is going to be enough for the Broncos to take the first round.
Mythmaker13 in the Twitch chat is saying this monkey is going bananas, and I cannot agree more. Boise State winning that first round, making it 1-0.
Yeah, so one thing that Air Force did pretty well was they had a plan of action. They knew what they were trying to do. They had a comp built around it. Unfortunately, they weren't playing tight enough together as a team, and because of that, with Boise State's team comp of a dive, that they were able to just dive on the people who were too far away from their tanks.
And now we come up to the next match here. Unfortunately, this isn't my favorite one. My favorite one is the Plaza with the hole in the middle. But this is still a very fun map to play. You can still get a lot of environmental kills here. Boise State with all the momentum going into this next match. We're going to see both teams go here. Air Force was in the red, so I assume that is them on the right. You see a soldier they're going to be using there as well, it looks like, with a Diva and a Winston, so very dive-heavy meta for them. Boise State is going to go with the Rhine Diva composition with Saladon and Food. Saladon has been so good on the McCree. He's so good on those far-range Zephyr-like heroes right now, but he's going to go down. He's not going to show us any of those talents, as the soldier was able to get a great pick-off there in the beginning. Now Air Force is going to charge onto this board, taking out the Diva mech as well. Bear really coming through with this soldier, doing exactly what you want damage to do. Nerdy Bird is also going to go down, and Pyros is going to go off the edge. All of them are saying, let's reset.
Yeah, so as you look at the team comps, Air Force has a very dive-oriented comp, and Boise State has swapped to the more traditional brawl comp in this meta. And we want to be on the point. We want to brawl on the point. And we did not rotate the point fast enough, and Air Force was able to pick us off before we were able to set up on point.
There's a really good flank by Air Force there to start that fight. Snuck up on Boise State. The Broncos, just you mentioned though, Captain Star, want to take this fight right to the point, and that's where they're trying to go. Damage going out onto Kazin right now. A great job by the healers for Boise State, keeping the team alive. We are going to see Nerdy Bird picking up the first kill onto the tank. A double freeze going to land as well. That gets one, and the mech in Boise State jumps on the point and immediately clips the wings of Air Force. A 5-man kill, and they're able to get the control back.
You've got to appreciate a boop like that when you knock a huge gorilla off the edge. It doesn't matter then what size hero you are. Gravity is always going to win in that situation. And now Air Force is going to come. They need to take back the point. You see the Primal Rage is available for them, but Boise State has a lot more ultimates to their name, a lot more options they can do here. Tactical Visor is going to be able to be used by Air Forces. Both sides are just kind of poking each other right now. Dada is going to come out from Celadon, but Gare Bear is going to take him out before he can use it. Fish's Pride is able to withstand that. And we also see the Primal Rage is also going to be used by Chris J. And now one by one, Air Force is making their way to the point. Primal Rage taking out Blue. Food is answering that by taking out Gare Bear, and Pyros is taken out by Boise State. Block is still keeping this alive by taking out Chris J, but he is taken out by Marshall, so a bit of back and forth, but overall Air Force able to whittle down Boise State and allow themselves to take the point again.
It was very unfortunate that we used both the High Noon and the Blizzard in that engagement. Even we still lost, even though we dedicated those two massive ults to it. Both of those ults are very good zoning ultimates that can basically clear the point or force the enemy into a nice area that we can engage into. But we didn't use those effectively, and we don't have them for this next engagement.
Here comes the Shatter. It's going to land onto 2 and immediately results in a dead Moira for Air Force. The Sound Barrier going to come out from Kazin to try and do as much healing as he can. We're going to see the double Diva Bomb coming out there. Marshall not able to get anyone. Sound Barrier committed by Nerdy Bird, the Nano as well, and just like that, Boise State, another excellent team fight.
That was amazing. Air Force now has nothing to their name other than the Coalescence, which is charged so fast in the past meta. We also see Pyros and Saladon with the Deadeye, but right now I would put more money on the Diva Bomb, and especially the Blizzard that's going to come up for Food as well. That has been such a crucial ultimate. Now Air Force is going to try to push past through this narrow doorway. It's going to come up onto the balcony. No elimination so far, just some poking. Coalescence coming out. Tries to get the Deadeye, but he's going to be taken out before he can use that as well. Coalescence also picking up Block as well. This little bit reminder of the double shield meta we used to see. Coalescence still very great, especially when it's coupled with a Primal Rage that takes out 3.
And as you saw, we still failed again. We used both High Noon and Blizzard, and we still failed to win the fight.
Well, you use Blizzard. That's the one thing. That's the only thing worth taking into account.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you,
yeah. But we haven't. We've let them take the initiative, and that's why we've been using these ults reactionary instead of proactively. And that has mainly been the problem. Is Dive wants to take advantage. They want to take the tempo of the fight, and they have not let us take it back.
Boise State going to try and jump onto the point zone where he split engagement as the Deadeye is going to come out from M. Jolty. There it is! Whoa! He's going to pick up a triple kill. He's showing you how to use it. Sorry, M. Jolty, I must have offended him. Tactical Visor's going to pick up another one. And just like that, Boise State now has to hurry back to the point. Pyros able to stay alive, gets back in the mech, immediately gets Brock down. Overtime down, ticking down now for Boise State. They are able to keep it into overtime there, but they've got to just sort of scurry back, sort of pop in and off the point. You see Saladon doing the Tracer is going to go down. Guac comes in on the Wrecking Ball as well. Can't get back to the point though. So Air Force going to go to round 3.
That is probably the biggest case of anything you can do, I can do better. Saladon both times trying to use the Deadeye, got eliminated immediately. Then up walks Air Force, gets a triple like it's nothing, allowing them to get that second round. We are 1-1, which means we're moving on to my favorite map. Though I love the map. So many shenanigans can go on with that, Captain Star.
So in the last map, for some reason, Boise State took the fight outside of the point, even though they had the Reinhardt and they had the May. But neither of those picks are really good on this map because of the big hole in the middle of the point. Heroes like Orisa and Roadhog and Ferrite are very prevalent here because they have the boot potential to just knock someone into that and get a free kill.
We saw just a little hint of that when Nerdy Bird was able to take out Winston. But certainly very potent in this map, it being in the middle of the point fish. And it's going to be interesting to see how this first engagement comes out if either team decides to try to take advantage of those environmental kills.
And we are going to see the Maywall is going to cut off some members. Chris J going to be the first one to fall. Marshall's mech and himself are going to go down as well. Who needs environmental kills when you can just take down the Falcons straight up? Boise State, the first 3 kills, and they have full control of the point.
Full control of the point is going to have a bit of an advantage also on the ult charge as well. Air Force has to be sent back in a full reset. Going to see which route they decide to take here. It looks like they are going up onto the roofs instead a little bit here. Now Boise State is just trying. They're going to be coming onto the point right here. Saladon almost went there, but Blue has got his back. Now they're going to be engaging on Boise State right now. Gare Bear was going down, and he's going to be taken out by Food as well. But Blue was taken out right at the beginning with that Moira, so that ceiling is going to be definitely missed. Saladon just taken out one by one, trying to punch. He is able to get the Moira, but not before Chris J and Marshall are able to take him out, as well as Food too. So Boise State definitely in a situation that they don't want to be in right now. Reinhardt is just left on there trying to get better. You see Nerdy Bear trying a little bit of a cheeky ride inside of that hole there, but not quite enough. She's going to be taken out as well, and a reset for Boise State.
Yeah, so Air Force was able to win that because they were able to, again, split us off. We didn't have a solid plan of retreat, and they were able to take out the people who were lagging behind. This is going to be interesting once we come up with Blizzard, and we'll see if we can use that effectively this map.
Coalescence going to start the fight. The Shatter not going to land on anyone but Marshall. Gare Bear going to be the first one to go down, but immediately that is answered right back. The Primal Rage committed as well from Air Force. Boise State just has to reset. They did pull 2 ultimates, though, away from Air Force, and they do have 4 up for themselves.
It's just a little surreal seeing Coalescence come out again after just the reminder of how dominant Double Shield was, and 2 Coalescences would always be dueling against each other. Air Force certainly showing how it is still a potent ultimate, but Boise State is going to have 5 to their name during this next engagement, so they should be able to take it out, especially with a pick like that at the beginning. Saladon is able to take out Marshall. See Nerdy Bird here, sees the Doomfist. The Doomfist is going to come down, try to flank Boise State, but he's going to be taken out by Saladon as well. The Moira taking a lot of damage, and 2 from Deadeye on Saladon, redeeming himself, allowing Boise State to take the point.
The only counter the Air Force really has to that Deadeye is the D.Va, that you can just eat the entire thing with your defense matrix. So it was really crucial for them to take out the D.Va, and then like, okay, now that they don't have that counter ability, we can use this ultimate effectively.
We're going to see the Supercharger come down then for Pyros. Boise State using it to just sort of build up some of those ultimates they did expend earlier in the fight, and also put a ton of damage on to Air Force. Actually going to take down Gare Bear as well, so right when the Falcons needed to push, they're actually going to be forced to be in a 6v5 and sort of wait out that respawn timer. An excellent use of the Supercharger there by Pyros, picking up a kill, and now Air Force just sort of has to fall back and reset.
Ball back and reset, a bit of a soft reset right now. You see members trying to charge over to the point. Winston is going to get right in the face of Boise State, but none of them are taking damage except Walk. He's actually going to go down thanks to Gerber. Pyros is able to take out Chris J, but with the double Diva Bomb, it's going to even it up for Air Force as they are both using the beat and the coalescence. But Saladon coming through for Boise State, picking up all these eliminations. He is looking for one more. Give that man a medal. Not only has he gotten a double Deadeye, but elimination after elimination, saving Boise State in that engagement, and now Winston's going to throw a temper tantrum at the amazing job Saladon did there.
I'm going to point out really quick, the only reason he was able to do that play right there was because he had Deadeye that he used and then canceled to get a full reload on his gun.
He used the ultimate to kill no one. There we go. That's the perfect use for that. And we'll see, look, we get a 3-man Deadeye, and it's not even play of the game. That is all I need to say.
In a choke this narrow, you know, Mora's going to have a good time when she throws out that orb and the coalescence as well.
You know, the entire enemy team is just in a straight line, and there's nothing they can do about it. It's like the ideal ultimate.
It's the easiest aiming situation in the game. Right now, you're watching Boise State Esports versus Air Force. Boise State was able to take the first match in that series, first game in that match, excuse me, and they are now 1-0. They need 2 more wins to send this home and get 5-0 for the season. Off to a great start here. You can see Mythmaker in the chat saying John Wayne was out there coming in clutch, and I could not think of a more, just like the best climaxes in Westerns, that was a shootout for the ages. Saladon really in that final engagement, because Air Force was throwing everything they had. They had the beat, they had the coalescence, they were using everything. And especially after that double Diva Bomb, it looked like they were able to get the engagement. But here came Saladon, one after the other.
It was very hectic engagement where Air Force was trying to get to the point so they could trigger overtime. We were just trying to stop them at all costs, and it just got really hectic. And because of that, the chaos allowed the Diva Bomb to get value, where normally it's really hard to get even a single kill off of that ultimate.
I mean, I thought that was a very well played. I mean, it was really telegraphed. I mean, you see a Diva flying into your back line. You know what's coming. But as you said, Captain Star, that fight was just so hectic. Air Force knew they needed to get on the point. Boise State playing up on top of that. But, yeah, that was a great play by Saladon and didn't even need Deadeye. So I think my point rests. Well, that's all I need to say.
Even though he used the Deadeye to reload, he still picked up 2 with it. Okay, let's not discount that.
I need no argument other than the best play we've been talking about does not include him using Deadeye.
Well, we do have, I think I heard we have a replay there. We actually have, the rules, excuse me. Best of 5 test per rule set. Ilios was the first one. Hybrid is going to be next. We have Eichenwald and New Bonnie, but you can forget about those because it's probably going to be King's Row anyway. After that is going to come up Assault. You could have a Temple of Anubis, Hanamura, and Voskaya. We've seen mostly Hanamura and Voskaya. Escort is going to come after that. Dorado, Havana, Rialto, and Control if it does go into that 5th game. But right now, we're going to see what Air Force wants to pick for the hybrid map. Boise State definitely getting ready. And here was that crazy play by Saladon. Amazing. He just wanted to get one after the other. He was out for blood after that double Diva Bomb, able to keep Boise State on the point in such a crucial time.
And as Captain Star pointed out, the fantastic thing of being able to use the Deadeye for the guaranteed reload there. He used it, immediately canceled it. That's what allowed him to win that McCree battle. If he doesn't have that Deadeye, he probably doesn't win it. We're still talking because we might be in overtime. So just excellent knowledge of how properly to use Deadeye.
That's Fish's tip for the game.
There you go.
If Fish had tips for the game, it would just be one line saying no Deadeye.
Only Deadeye to reload.
Yeah, Deadeye to reload. That's Fish's.
Yep, that's my tips for the game right there.
Fish's tips to the game, keys to the game.
One thing that I would say that I noticed about Air Force's team comp for the majority is they had...
Oh, New Bonnie instead of King's Row. Thank you for changing it up. Back to you, Captain Star.
Yeah, so Air Force ran a Winston for almost all of the duration of that map. And they also had the McCree, which is very strange because McCree is one of those heroes that doesn't have the escapability. He needs protection if he wants to live. And without that strong front line of a Reinhardt or a Sigma or something like that, he just gets melted. And I thought the Air Force did a really good job of allowing the McCree to apply pressure and then following up with their tanks, keeping Boise State from being able to dive on that McCree. Now I'm curious to see if they're going to continue with that same strategy here, or if they're going to stick with the strategy that they have, or they're going to come out and bring out a new strategy for this map specifically.
Someone at MythMega13 in chat is saying, forget the zoning Deadeye, the reload Deadeye is where
there you go.
We've got the zoning Deadeye and the reload Deadeye, everything except the regular Deadeye.
Exactly. No, I'll be very curious to see, because I think, as you pointed out, Capstar, they used it well, but the problem is you can only use something so well when you lose the first round.
Yeah.
So something has to change when you're already down 1-0. So I would expect them to change to something more comfortable, but it looks like for now they're going to stick with it.
Boise State is going to be playing defense right now for this first engagement. You see Air Force is going to still have GareBearer and use the McCree as well. Boise State using a Far Mercy composition. They're going to charge right onto the point and take out Nerdy Bird in the process, but Chris J is taken out by Blue, so having to tank down is going to be really well. Pybus is going to finish that up by punching McCree in the face. Blue, unfortunately, is going to go down, but Food with 2 eliminations, showing just how potent a fair with a good aim can be. Walk also taking out the Lucio, sending Air Force back to point, saying try again.
So I would say with the team comps that both of these teams are bringing out, the deciding factor in a lot of these team fights is going to be the Pharah versus McCree. If the Pharah can take care of the McCree, there's really no other direct counters. Like, the D.Va can contest, but the Pharmacy is always going to be able to out-sustain the D.Va. And as soon as that McCree goes down, the Pharah basically is free reign.
And as you had pointed out, where McCree needs his front line, that whole fight went south for Air Force because M. Jolty walked around the corner and Guac put him at about 1% health. He was able to get away eventually to get punched down, but as you mentioned, Captain Star, when McCree doesn't have that sort of front line, he is very vulnerable, and he is the only counter Air Force has right now to Food. And once again, he is going to be the first member down for Air Force. Now we're going to see GareBear go down as well, as Food knows the skies are his to patrol right now. We do see the Coalescence up. They are trying to chase down the Moira, not quite able to get there, but a great job by Boise State eliminating both DPS for Air Force and basically allowing Food just free reign of the sky.
When the McCree is away, the Pharah will play indeed. Pyros, Guac, Saladon, Nerdy Bird, and now Food and Blue are basically going to have every ultimate available to them for this next engagement. Saladon's going to use his right off the bat. Doesn't look like it's going to pick up anyone. You see Guac going down here is going to contest the D.Va and basically almost everyone. He's going to use the Primal Rage and try to push everyone in the face, but he was stunned there. Lucio is going to be the first to go down as Saladon takes him out. Pyros is going to chase right after the Winston and is able to take him out as well. Now it's going to go on the point to hit the D.Va as well. GareBear plus M. Jolty. Now the Moira as well taken out. Great job all around from Boise State. One after the other. Air Force try again.
Yeah, so one thing that I think Air Force needs to work on to win these maps is having a more cohesive strategy with your team. They have dive tanks, and they have but they have a stationary DPS combo along with healers that can't really keep up with those tanks. And whenever the tanks engage, they just expose their entire backline to Boise State with their full dive comp to jump on. And I think that's mainly Air Force's problem right here. And that Ashe that they just picked up is going to help them with that. A little bit more mobile of a DPS, and it can also help you contest this Pharah.
I mean, I don't know about you, Fish, but when I see Ashe, I just want to see Bob do something.
Yeah, it'll be a little bit for Bob. The Nano's going to come out. The Sound Barrier, though, going to do a great job shutting down that barrage damage. Only one member is going to go down. M. Jolty and GareBear, though, are both going to be the ones that are killed. So, unfortunately, once again, Air Force finding themselves in a very familiar spot. They don't have any DPS. The Primal Rage from Chris J is going to pick up Blue, but that's about all the damage Air Force has right now. Boise State content putting in as much chip damage as possible. Kaizen will go down. Marshall gets blown out of his mech. Chris J will follow. So a great near engage for Air Force. The problem was they did that entire fight once again without their DPS. We talked about it in Doc's Keys of the Game. Target prioritization has been huge for Boise State. You can't win fights, Captain Star, when you don't have any damage.
Yeah, and McCree was one of the first people to go down in that fight. And he has his High Noon, which can turn this whole fight around if his tanks are able to protect him properly. But with the timer counting down, he's not going to have time to set up properly, and there you go.
Yep, the orb is going to take him out before it can be High Noon for everybody. And you see Nerdy Bird is using the Valkyrie that's having so much utility, and Walk is going to have the Primal Rage available to him now. Coalescence is going to come out. GareBear is going to be taken out, just taking out those damages before they can do anything, followed by the Lucio. Coalescence was able to pick up food, however, but Boise State still is in the driver's seat for this engagement. Right now, Air Force has the Diva on the field, but the mech is going to go down, followed by the Moira as well. Baby Diva taken out, food resurrected by Nerdy Bird. I would be willing to say here that Boise State just has to put the bow on this by taking out the Junkrat, taking out the Hammond, and that'll be it for this round. Take it home, boys and girls. That is round 1 complete.
So I think Air Force continues for the duration of that match to have a very mismatched combination of tanks and DPS. I don't see them doing much better unless they can somehow find a way to either fix the issue or play around it better.
And really do a better job of protecting their DPS, because it felt like every single fight, and you mentioned this, how the tanks and DPS don't really coordinate well. They didn't have a 2 DPS alive for almost any team fight, and so they never had that follow-up damage. I think you're right, Captain Sar, unless they can come up with a better either balance. If they're going to stick on this tank lineup and this DPS lineup, they've got to either have better communication, or they do, I think you have to agree, you put them on a tank and a DPS that work well together, not just maybe putting them on heroes that they're more comfortable on, because as you can see, these contrasting styles aren't always the best.
It's very important to play heroes you're comfortable with, but it's also equally important to play heroes that work well together. And if you can't get both of those together, I don't think any team is going to be able to win against Boise State.
You can see the lineup there, Celadon getting his normal picture of that. We see Guac, Pyro, Celadon, Food. Nerdy Bird and Blue are on Boise State's lineup, all doing their jobs superbly, and they just now have to get 1 tick, I believe. I don't think Air Force got even 1 tick on that. So 1 tick and it's GG.
They came very close, but Boise State was a little bit patient and allowed them the time to get to the point before collapsing.
Well, I guess Boise State showed them the blueprint, though, right? Boise State showed them how to defend, so Air Force, if they can steal a page out of the Broncos' book, can force overtime, but that is a tall task for the way the game has been going. We are going to see a Junkrat on the side. We do see Boise State using the Sombra. My guess would be just to scout. I don't think Gem Mountain, don't get too excited. I think that's going to be a teleport right back to base and switch to the more appropriate hero for the match.
Yeah, usually a Sombra is used to scout out the enemy team and then translocate back and swap to a more appropriate team comp, and that'll give you about 5 or 6 seconds head start with an appropriate team comp to counter your opponents.
Talking about being sneaky, I see the Winston's going to come bowling right into the back of Air Force, pushing them all onto the point, whether they want to be there or not. Gare Bear is taken out first, followed by Food on Boise State, but Pyros and Celadon are going to more than make up for that. Unfortunately, Chris J and M. Jolty were able to change the tide of that battle. Walk taking out MJ Jolty, so Boise State is now just trying to take on this point on that engagement. Looks so good, but now the Reinhardt just charged off of there when Boise State needed 1 tick.
That was definitely a misplay. He meant to charge the Winston into the edge of that wall, but just barely missed it. That was just unfortunate.
Yeah, good old C9 is going to allow Boise State to take that first. We see M. Jolty as the Junkrat is going to get play of the game. I guess a little bit of solace, but when you weren't able to get even 1 tick and Boise State just came on their first engagement, this is all that can be, maybe just a little bit of a moral victory. But definitely was able to draw out that first engagement and not make it a complete blowout for Boise State.
The comp that Air Force was going for that match was a lot more cohesive. They had a lot more of the kind of brawly type heroes that work well together. The reason they lost that fight was because the Pharah got an amazing boop, knocked 3 of them off the high ground, and then Dive was able to follow up. Despite the amazing engagement Boise State got, Air Force did a great job of nearly coming back with their Junkrat play that took out the Pharah. That was a really good Junkrat play that almost brought it back.
I mean, I do have to give. I do like when Wrecking Ball goes bowling, though. That's always fun to see.
Yeah, I mean, Boise State, I mean, they took that map because of the unfortunate misplay there by the Reinhardt, but that was a very even trade. Even like Captain Star said, it started out so well for Boise State. The Junkrat, the play of the game, we saw that brought Air Force back, and I think they would have been able to stall out and been able to bring their reinforcements to keep Boise State from capping. Unfortunately, that just inch difference, not being able to hit on the wall, going right off the point, that was the difference. That was a very well-played fight by Air Force. Just 1 inch was the difference.
Sometimes that can be all the difference you need, and Boise State is going to get that second victory to their name. Now they go on to the third match, which is going to be Assault. We saw some of the options for that could be Temple of Anubis, but we've more often seen Hanamura and Volskaya.
Volskaya is a very popular one. It's one of our favorite maps here. But we also really like Hanamura. And Anubis is just a very, very weird map. It's one of the more snowbally of the assault maps. It's so easy to just steamroll first point or win the first point and then steamroll second point, and it's way easier to do that on other maps.
A snowballing map in an already snowballing game mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be very curious to see what Air Force gets to pick there. Clearly that choice for Game 2 did not go in their favor at all, so they're up against it. It's 2-0. This is match point for Boise State, so maybe you bring out Anubis. Maybe you think you can snowball really hard because, I mean, if there's a map where one fight can mean a one map, and Air Force has sort of been in the spot where they really haven't been able to consistently win fights, maybe you pick Anubis because you say all we got to do is win the first fight. We snowball to the second point. We can automatically win. So when you're like Air Force, when fights haven't been going your way very often, I don't think Anubis is a terrible choice.
Well, and it makes you wonder, on that last pick that Air Force had, picking Numbani instead of Kings Row. That's been Boise State's strategy all along, is to practice other maps other than Kings Row so they can take other teams by surprise with their skill in maps such as Numbani.
And one thing I'd point out is the Junkrat did really well for Air Force in their defense. It didn't work out ultimately, but it did a very good job of trying to bring it back. And Junkrat is like the meta pick for Temple of Anubis. So I'm curious if their Junkrat, if simply because their Junkrat has been working really well, they might want to bring out onto Temple of Anubis.
Well, it would be the first time for us to cast it here on desk. Certainly an interesting change, but it might just be the same Volskaya or to a lesser extent Hanamura that we've been used to seeing. It's all just going to be a matter of a few seconds knowing what Air Force chose to try to turn this around. And they need this win more than other because it's down to a reverse sweep or nothing. And Boise State, if they get the win, is definitely going to be sending a message to everyone else, being the only 5-0 team to enter the semifinals. And you saw Food here was just doing such great work on the Farah, and especially because one of the things Boise State was able to do so well was taking out all the counterable DPSs that Air Force had, allowing the Farah to really thrive. And this was this engagement that we saw that Boise State almost lost because it was looking so good for them, but Air Force was able to turn it around.
Yeah, one thing I noticed in a lot of these is if you look at the the counter around the capture bar, almost every single fight, Air Force almost got a tick. Boise State was very patient, waited for their engagement. They waited to the last second before they needed to engage to contest point to give them the optimal opportunity to jump on. Most of the time, it was the McCree.
Yeah, that McCree, it was just a very unlucky man, that fight.
Very unlucky man, but Boise State certainly isn't unlucky in this matchup that they are having. This is Boise State versus Air Force in the Mountain West Overwatch Esports Series. Boise State is looking to go 5-0 for the season, entering the semifinals with dominance, and if they can pick up one more win, they will certainly be doing that. Let's take a look at those standings we've been talking about. Boise State, the only undefeated team. On the west side, UNLV is in the lead with Nevada and San Jose trailing close behind them. It's going to be interesting to see who from the West Division is moving on. UNLV and Nevada, such great rivals for Boise State that have really given them a run for their money in past matchups as well. So Boise State having a great time in the Mountain Division, but it is going to be interesting to see what happens. And, of course, League of Legends is also being played in the Mountain West Esports Series. Boise State doing really good in that as well. I have the standings right here. Boise State also is 4-0 in League of Legends, but you know who else is 4-0 in League of Legends? Nevada as well. So consistently Nevada and UNLV being the top teams in the West Division. So it's going to be very... Oh, we actually called it! This is a map! This is a map that exists! It's a map that we're going to play right now! Oh my goodness, I'm so excited.
I mean, I stand by what I said earlier. I mean, if you're Air Force, all you got to do is win one fight here. You don't have to win multiple engagements. They haven't had an easy time doing that. So I think this is a great pick by Air Force because, as Captain Star mentioned, as we've talked about every time we go to Control, it's a snowball-y game mode. This is the snowballiest map of all of them. You just got to win one fight, and the whole map could be yours.
And with their Junkrat pick that they seem to be falling back on, in a lot of these maps, they have always reverted back to a Junkrat. He is basically the meta pick for defense on first point, and it can be very powerful with the just trace amount of high ground that the defenders have. He can just keep raining down grenades.
Be very curious to see if Air Force, though, besides the Junkrat, wants to switch up, because we've talked about their tanky DPS, especially the Winston and the McCree, haven't always synergized probably as well as they want. Jolty has had a very rough time really going anywhere on offense, because Boise State knows that. They pick him off immediately because Winston's trying to dive in on the back line. So I'll be curious to see if they want to make any swaps while keeping the Junkrat.
And now you see the Wrecking Ball is going to go right through the choke. Boise State is on defense right now. One of the deadliest chokes in Overwatch. It is such a narrow push through, and Air Force is now looking at the right moment to see. And the Mei was almost going to be taken out. She is so low, and yes, he is going to be taken out by Saladon, who can also use the Junkrat to great effect, rocking right into that trap. Boise State is not going to be up for this engagement. A great Mei wall there is going to split up Air Force. The Wrecking Ball coming right into Boise State's face. That's not going to work out. Leg's going to take him out as well. So Boise State really good in this engagement, one after the other, staggering Air Force's respawns by also taking out that Winston. This isn't looking too well so far, not the snowball that Air Force would like to form.
I'd like to point out that Air Force still has the same problem of a staggered, or a different mismatched tank DPS lineup. They have dive tanks. Oh, they just swapped to Zarya. So there we go, that's better. But they had the Wrecking Ball Winston, but you also have Mei and a Brig, and those two are not dive tanks or dive DPS or supports. They can't move fast, which is what you won't have out of your Wrecking Ball and Winston.
We're going to see a couple of Mei walls there trying to cut off some damage. Food does have the Blizzard available. Also, both supports for Boise State have that blue check mark next to their name if they want to use it. A great anti-grenade onto two, but a perfect ice wall keeps Apollo alive. Razor, though, is going to be the first one to go down the amplification matrix. Not enough to save Lake or Blue. A double kill, though, for Saladon. So the teams are trading back and forth. We're just going to see Razor spawning now. Chris J goes down as well. Apollo dropping very low, but picks off Saladon. Gare Bear going to go down. So a very back and forth, but this favors Boise State as the defender. Not even a tick can go down for Air Force, and both teams will have to regroup.
I'm really liking what Air Force is going for now. They have a solid plan of action and a lineup that actually supports that plan.
Now that they've got the lineup worked out, they are going to try again by going to the left here. You can see them going around the same wall. That was such a great Mei wall last time. Now the Bongo is going to be available for a state, but Food is going to use the Blizzard before they can do that. Freezing the Brig right there, going to pick up their first elimination, and that's going to be great because now the rally can't be used for Air Force. Boise State continuing, pushing to Air Force back. A great anti-nade. It's also going to take out the Ana as well. Boise State is using none of their ultimates. Saladon is going to get another double elimination, followed by Pyros and Lake taking out both tanks. Again, Air Force has to go back to start, and what they were hoping to be a snowball is melting in the hot desert air.
As you notice, look at the ults coming up. We're basically even on ults. Boise State has this one more ult off of Air Force, but more or less it's even. And I'd say a large reason of that is because Air Force has that Nanoblade combo, and that is a very scary combo. And we do not have we do not have feet to save ourselves from that.
It's a great takeout of Marshall with the Riptire. I've been waiting so long to see a Riptire elimination, my favorite ultimate in the game. And Air Force is going to use everything they can with the Rally and the Blizzard, but Boise State just doesn't care. Oh, there goes the Genji. Now he's able to do what he was meant to do by taking out Food, Blizzard, and Pyros, but Boise State is answering back by taking him out, and the Brig as well, and Saladon again with a double elimination, sending Air Force back to start, and they have only 30 seconds left to try to capture this first point.
They were not able to successfully take out their Nanoblade. The Ana died just barely too early for that to be viable, and even with that, Air Force almost won. It was very unfortunate that the Ana got taken out as early as she did.
Well, Air Force realizes they've got to get on to the point. Boise State trying to turn around. They were right on that bridge. The Shatter is going to land onto Blue and result in the first kill. Razor's going to go down as well. The Nano comes out. Riptire and Supercharger are going to come out for Boise State as well. There is the Graviton going to come out for Marshall. Not going to matter, though. Air Force trying their hardest, but they can't get a single tick onto the point as overtime is starting to count down against the Falcons. Nobody on the point, and Boise State once again with a stout defense.
And what was so interesting is because what was one of Doc's keys to the game? The right comp. And look at what Air Force did, what you were talking about, Captain Star. Not having the supports they needed to try to support the tanks that they chose. Having the wrong comp there cost them an engagement or two. And especially in a match like Temple of Anubis, where one engagement can make the whole difference, that really hurt them.
Yeah, so I think that Air Force needs to work on their comps they initially pick with. They have made correct swaps to be successful, but it just, if you are already on the losing end of a snowball, a swap is not gonna help you as much as it would if you just started with the right comp to begin with.
Yeah, that'll be very precarious spot for Air Force, because not only can they not allow a tick just for the game, they can't allow a tick for the match, they can't allow a tick for the season. I mean, this is probably one of the most high-stakes defense efforts.
I mean, if you're going to pull off a reverse sweep, this would have to be the ultimate of reverse sweeps.
Yes, this is for everything right here. So, I mean, as we've talked about, though, that Junkrat, we saw Boise State use it on defense, is very good on Temple of Anubis. We've seen them have a lot of success with that Junkrat, especially on defense, on even maps that doesn't favor it. So the deck isn't stacked against them yet, but they've got a very large amount of work ahead of them.
Definitely some work cut out for them. We do see, it looks like it's just a little hard to do out the comps here. I do see it looks like they are going with more of a, looked like a Ryan Sigma there.
They also look like they dropped
They have a May and an Ash.
Yeah.
They dropped their Junkrat.
Which is puzzling, because we've been saying that's what's been working for them.
Yeah, that's it. And we even talked about how successful that could be on defense.
I mean, look, I like Bob as much as the next guy, but if the Junkrat's working for you.
Boise State's going to pull up the Junkrat. Saladon's going to be on it. The Broncos, we are going to see a sleep on to Pyro. Saladon dropping very low. A very good Maywall. Saladon is going to be the first one to go down. Chris J will follow, but CBMX also going to go down. Lake will follow. Food with an anti will have to run away. So will Pyro. So Boise State tried to come out with their own Junkrat. Did not work, and now they'll have to go reset.
The entire fight was opened up by the amazing Maywall that Apollo was able to take and just split Boise State. That's one of the weaknesses of going up the left ramp, is it's so easy for defenders to get it. Just a fantastic wall.
Speaking of walls, the Maywall is going to be used by Boise State, and they are going to try the same thing. In the past 5 engagement, both by Air Force and Boise State, they have used this, I guess by Air Force in their last engagement, they just charged on the point, but this left route has been used so much, and with the Maywall, it's not going to work out for Boise State as CBMX gets taken out, followed by Lake and Blue. The only elimination Boise State has was Pyros taking out the Reinhardt, followed by Food taking out the Brigida, but with Saladon also going down, another reset for Boise State, so maybe Air Force is now starting to find their groove.
Maybe, but if you look at the ult charges, all it's going to take is just one fight. And if you can get 6 ultimates and just throw them all into a fight, you have a high chance of success. So all Boise State needs to do is just bide the time, get their 6 ultimates, and just push with all 6.
Boise State going to take a different route. They're going to charge right on top of the point. A great Maywall is going to lock down Apollo, but he's going to use his own at 1% to keep himself alive. The shatter from Chris J didn't land on to anyone. Boise State, though, starting to take control. 2 members of Air Force are going to go down. The rally is going to come out from Razor. It's not enough to keep himself alive. Food is going to use the Blizzard. That's going to take down Marshall. Boise State very close. A nice sleep on to Gare Bear. He is going to be the next one to go down. And just like that, Boise State will take the point.
Do all of you in the arena know the significance of what just happened? Because Boise State is undefeated for the regular season of the Mountain West Overwatch Esports Series. And Saladon on that Junkrat making quick work of Air Force. An all-around great game. Even when the Genji, the Nano Blade for Genji came out, Saladon was right there to answer that back by taking out the Genji, following that up with the May and Reinhardt, getting Boise State that victory.
Yeah, the ultimate combo that Air Force was going for was Nano Blade. That was their win condition, but their Ana got taken out just before they were able to actually nano their blades. They just had a blade, and they did commit Blizzard to it, which almost worked. It was just that Junkrat play just behind the doorway, just spamming out grenades and mines that were able to take out Genji before he was able to take out the rest of Boise State.
This has been Boise State versus Air Force in the Mountain West Overwatch Esports Series. A great match tonight with a lot of great performance by Boise State, showing why they deserve to be at the top of the bracket. They are moving on to the semifinals, and depending on how the match with Colorado State works out, we'll see who they play to see who gets to go to Las Vegas, which will be very interesting. But a great match all around. We are going to be coming up on the ICCU Player of the Game. It's going to be interesting. Do you have any predictions on who you think the Player of the Game might be?
Honestly, I would say it's probably going to be food or salad. They just did a great job of taking out the carries that Air Force was trying to go for. They had McCree on Numbani, and almost every single time we were able to take him out. And I think the tank play was really, really good. But I think the DPS play was able to just carry it just far enough.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that, with either food or salad. If production really wants me to eat crow, and I don't even know if we can do this, you have to give it to M. Jolty, right? He picked up a triple kill with Deadeye. I mean, if you really want to, shove it in my face, it's got to be that's the best Deadeye we've seen all season.
Yeah.
That's my vote right there. I know it's the opposing team player,
but if you can, instead of showing MJ Jolty, put a picture of a fish looking bitter into the player's
exactly.
thing.
Yeah, that's what I would have to go for. I mean, if you can get a triple kill Deadeye, that's the best one I've seen in 5 games of the Mountain West Series. I mean, no disrespect to you. You've earned it.
Yeah, you see the players there getting off the stage, feeling great about their performance thus far, all of them deserving much praise and commendation. It has been a great season in this Mountain West Series for them. They can go to the semifinals with their head held high. Captain Star, I would probably say I agree with you, maybe a little bit more salad, because he can just do such work on the McCree and be able to get so many picks so fast, and especially since he used the Deadeye in the way the fish most likes is the reload. He was able to turn around an entire engagement on the first map in Ilios, and so I think he can be a real great contender for that. But all the members of Boise State are doing so well. Just an example on Numbani, it was a very short thing in the play, the game I think we saw, or just one of the replays, but you saw Nerdy on the Mercy, you're just hovering in the air with the Valkyrie, doing all the healing, but then notices the Moira is just with 1 health left, so quickly picks out the gun, does 1 shot, and it goes right into Moira. It just shows how much skill these players have and why they deserve to be 5-0.
Mercy is surprisingly scary when she decides to take out her pistol, because every Mercy's dream is to just take out your pistol and just get a team wipe. You've been supporting your team for God knows how many hours. Let's just do it yourself for once.
Hey, they're not killing anybody. I'm just going to take care of it for them. So getting 1 definitely has to feel very nice.
After so many years of the play of the game evading Nerdy, she wants to use the Mercy of all things to try to get it back. And definitely some great play from all members of the team. Still waiting for the ICCU player of the game. You can see everyone back there just socializing, a bit of camaraderie between all of the teams. But as we know, as we wait for this match to wrap up, that isn't all we have. Just as kind of a taste of what we have to have. We've got a lot of league coming up tomorrow on Saturday. Saturday's pretty full. We also got a match on Sunday, so this whole weekend is going to be very exciting. And one of the ways that you can catch all that excitement is by subscribing to Boise State Esports' Twitch page through a Twitch Prime subscription, which comes with every Amazon Prime subscription. We have been seeing a massive increase in the amount of subscribers that we have, and we thank each and every one of them because they do fund scholarships. But on we go to the Idaho Central Credit Union player of the game, and it is going to be Saladon.
Here we go. The best use of Deadeye in the game right there. Boom, the reload. Don't even bother about left clicking.
Yeah, his reloading roll was like half second off of cooldown, and he still decided to use his ultimate to reload.
He's putting Deadeye to the best of its use, Captain Star. I appreciate that. But it's not just McCree, by the way, as you can see here.
Yeah, not just McCree. Also on the Junkrat as well was able to, just like he did with the McCree, turning the entire engagement around when the Nano Blade was out for Air Force, probably their most deadly combo. Actually, the Blade didn't even get Nano boosted because the Ana was taken out beforehand. So really great job there for Saladon, who deserves to be Idaho Central Credit Union's player of the game. Brought to you, of course, by Idaho Central Credit Union, who believes a great player makes a team more successful, just like Idaho Central Union's helping members achieve financial success. Saladon is your Idaho Central Credit Union player of the game. Any final thoughts as we wrap up tonight?
I think it was a great job by Boise State. Great job finishing out the Mountain West season 5-0 in their division. I know Colorado State is, I believe, playing right now and might even be streaming their game. If the Rams win, they would be the 2 seed. If they lose, it becomes, we'd be here for hours trying to explain what happened. So keep an eye on that. I'm sure once we find out the result, we'll let everyone know. But great. I mean, if you go 5-0 and you're the only team that goes 5-0, there's not much else you can really say.
As we are going to be closing out this broadcast, you are going to be seeing the top 5 plays as the stream goes out. Those are going to be brought to you by the Idaho Army National Guard, which challenges you to take your critical thinking skills into real time. We don't actually have the top 5 plays of the game, but if we did, they would be brought to you by our great friends at the Idaho Army National Guard. It will be on Twitter, so you can catch it there. And with more than 10 jobs offering $20,000 bonuses, Idaho Central, not Idaho Central Credit Union, the Idaho Army National Guard, they both start with Idaho, is one of the best teams you can join. A great partner for us. We actually do have some gunfights coming up in the couple months, those special tournaments that we host with them. It'll be great, and you can catch all of that at Boise State Esports. For now, though, and until tomorrow, we will be signing out. Have a good night.